Thank you for joining us again for Animal World, our co-inhabitants. Today's show exposes the inhumane fate of hundreds of millions of animals used in experimentation and vivisection worldwide. To measure the poisonous effects of a compound, an acute toxicity test known as the LD50 test is routinely used in laboratories around the globe. In this experiment, large numbers of animals, usually mice, are force-fed increasing doses of the chemical. The test substance is forced through tubes into the animals' stomachs or through holes cut into their throats. Alternatively, the substance may be injected directly into a vein, into the lining of the abdomen, or under the skin. Forced inhalation is also common, especially for gaseous chemicals as well as narcotics. The experimenters then watch the animals and note any occurrences, which include convulsions, diarrhea, skin eruptions, and bleeding from the eyes, ears, nose, mouth, or vaginal cavities. The aim of the experiment is to see what concentration of the compound will cause 50% of the animals to die. So the experimenter continues to feed the chemical until half of the subjects die and the rest are eventually killed as well and examined by autopsy. In chronic toxicity tests, larger mammals such as dogs are repeatedly dosed with a chemical over a long period to see what effect it may have, and the test ends when the animal dies or is killed. Carcinogenicity tests involve the test animal being repeatedly and forcefully exposed to the test chemical for 2 years. The animal, usually a rodent, is then killed and examined. However, these tests have been proven to be invalid as mice are significantly more prone to developing cancer than humans. Teratogenicity tests seek to discover whether a drug will cause birth defects. So a female animal is forcibly made pregnant and then injected with harmful substances. As soon as she gives birth, her child is immediately taken away, killed, and then dissected. For a majority of these tests, large numbers of animals are used to achieve more accurate results. However, for all such experiments non-animal, cruelty-free alternatives exist. A particularly wasteful and horrific trend is curiosity research, which has no purpose but is done out of mere curiosity at the expense of the life and well-being of the animals involved. This includes an experiment in which British researchers blinded kittens by sewing up their eyelids and then injecting horseradish peroxidase, a highly noxious chemical, into their brains. The kittens were then killed and observations were made. In a study in the US, 39 monkeys were forced to run on a treadmill, and if they got tired and stopped, they were electrocuted. In a Canadian experiment, polar bears were made to swim through a water tank filled with crude oil. When the bears licked themselves to clean away the oil, they ingested so much oil that they developed kidney failure and died. In France, 30 baboons were used as crash test dummies by being strapped into a car driven into a brick wall at 40 miles per hour. In another experiment, a pregnant rat had her womb cut open. Then bolts frozen in liquid nitrogen were held against the heads of her developing babies. The fetuses were then extracted and killed, and their brains examined to determine the amount of damage caused. These studies represent just a small sampling of the needless and cruel curiosity research carried out. In pharmaceutical research, various healthy animal co-inhabitants are given diseases or health problems. Harmful chemicals are injected into the joints of rats to induce arthritis. Some animals are given cancer by grafting tumors onto their bodies. Others are infected with HIV, hepatitis, herpes, and a host of other diseases. Chemicals are injected into animals which destroy the pancreas and thus induce diabetes. Injections have also been given to apes to induce Parkinson's disease. Monkeys are made to become addicted to crack cocaine and heroin, while dogs are forced to smoke massive amounts of cigarettes. Due to their close genetic relationship to humans, primates bear the brunt of the worst and most disturbing research. For example, in one experiment, hundreds of macaque monkeys had their brains deliberately damaged to study Parkinson's disease and strokes. The animals had parts of their brains destroyed by injecting toxins or by surgical removal or cutting of certain brain areas. These animals were often left alone after surgery with no veterinary care. In yet another experiment, a professor of neurosurgery induced strokes in baboons by removing their left eyeball and then clamping an important blood vessel that lies behind the socket until a stroke was induced. Then a new drug was used to see if the ape would recover. The baboons were eventually killed and dissected. Another infamous case was that of Britches, the macaque monkey who was removed from his mother at birth and then had his eyes stitched shut and was left alone tethered to the ground. This was a sight deprivation experiment. These are not isolated incidents. Such tortures and worse are committed every day on our sweet, trusting co-inhabitants. So what can we do to stop this pointless cruelty? When shopping, check that the products you buy are marked cruelty-free, and also that they contain no animal products. Secondly, you can write to your local government representative voicing your feelings about animal experimentation. Most of all, spread the word on the cruelty of animal experimentation and adopt a compassionate, plant-based diet out of respect and love for all the beings that inhabit our beautiful earth. Thank you for your company today on Animal World, Our Co-Inhabitants. Coming up next is enlightening entertainment right after noteworthy news here on Supreme Master Television. Farewell and heaven bless.